this is a probable cause affidavit, and they don't have to lay out their whole case here. They just have to make up probable cause.
They went through a very lengthy analysis of the cell phone. What people have to understand is the cell phone is not like GPS.
That the scientist and the science behind this, when they do match his DNA with the DNA that was found at the crime scene, I think that will be an extremely important piece of evidence. 51%.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Davies.
Hello, Reporter Room investigators. Come on in, come on in. We have so much to talk about. Today, we're going to be talking about the Bryan Kohberger case. And oh my gosh, there's so much breaking news in this case. Today, we're going to be talking about defense witness Cy Ray. My name is Jessica Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects, and share with you how to do the same thing. If you have not subscribed to Reporter Room, it's free. So please do like, share, leave a comment. It is reserved or granted other motions related to potential expert testimony on BK's physical capability to commit the crime. Now, he, was using the Strava app, which I showed you guys proof in a prior live stream that he used the Strava app. It's a good GPS. It's better than GPS because it follows you wherever your phone goes. And I thought maybe the Strava app could be used to implicate or exonerate him. But it also shows that he could run a 6-minute mile. And having fine motor skill problems when you're in preschool or kindergarten don't really matter when you're in your late 20s. And also is, this a fine motor skill, being able to do this? No, it's not. Fine motor skill would be, tying your shoes or writing. Those are fine motor skills. This kind of action, not fine motor skills. The rulings establish boundaries for both the prosecution and the defense. While his defense attorney, Elizabeth Massoth, said in court that his family had no interest in cooperating with the state, the prosecutors revealed at a hearing last week that they would call a few relatives as witnesses. So let's talk about some of the big takeaways. We know the K-bar knife. We know now that went to his Albrightsville, Pennsylvania home. And we're going to talk about the number one thing we all missed in just a moment. So please stay with me. We knew that he purchased the knife sheath. And I've been reporting since a year ago that he purchased it in the spring of 2022. Now we know he bought it on Amazon. He bought it in March of 2022. We didn't know where these items, the knife and knife sheath, were delivered. Now we do. They were delivered in his name. He checked to see if the order was going to be arriving, when it was going to be arriving. And then he also deleted his search history on the K-bar knife from his Amazon account after the crimes were committed. And then he researched for a new K-bar knife and knife sheath. We learned that Dylan has been very consistent about her claims of seeing a man with bushy eyebrows. We also learned that Dylan was accurately describing a balaclava mask or ski mask right from the beginning of her interviews. She had 5 interviews with law enforcement, and she had the height correct right at the beginning. She said he was athletic but not muscular. And we're now learning that she described him as kind of a basketball player style of body, which I think is like a thin muscular physique. So I think that does fit Bryan Kohberger. He is 6 feet tall. He does have a thin body, and it will be up to the jury to decide whether or not he has bushy eyebrows. What else did we learn? We learned that the fine motor skill issues did indeed stem from childhood and are not relevant to him now. This is not something that is currently affecting him. We learned also, and this is huge, that the judge is not going to accept a partial alibi. So this is Idaho law. Good. Let's go through this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go through, highlight the thing because it's not long. But I just want to show you what the law is and why the judge came to this decision. So, notice of defense of alibi. 1, at any time after the arraignment, before a magistrate, upon a complaint, upon written demand of the prosecuting attorney, the defendant shall serve within 10 days or at a different time as the court may direct upon the prosecuting attorney a written notice of his intention to offer a defense of alibi. Such notice by the defendant shall state the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense, and the names and addresses of witnesses of whom he intends to rely on to establish an alibi. So this partial alibi does not fall within that, which is, I think, why the judge is saying no. He said Bryan Kohberger can take the stand, but no partial alibi. What do you guys think? Do you agree with the judge's ruling on this? Would you have preferred a different decision? But he did extend Bryan Kohberger's opportunity to provide a real alibi. Number 2, this is not me saying this is the judge. Within 10 days after receipt of the defendant's notice of alibi, but in no event less than 10 days before the trial, unless the court otherwise directs, the prosecuting attorney shall serve upon the defendant or his attorney a written notice stating the names and addresses of the witnesses upon whom the prosecution intends to rely to establish the defendant's presence at the scene of the alleged offense, and any other witnesses to be relied on to rebut testimony of any of the defendant's alibi witnesses. Number 3. I like this because it's not too wonky. If prior to or during the trial, a party learns of an additional witness whose identity, if known, should have been included in the information furnished under subsection 1 or subsection 2 of this section, so that's, I read you 1 and 2, the party shall promptly notify the other party or his attorney of the existence and identity of such additional witnesses. So if anything comes up and suddenly they have a witness, they can notify. 4, upon the failure of either party to comply with the requirements of this section, the court may exclude the testimony of any undisclosed witnesses offered by such party as to the defendant's absence from the presence at the scene of the alleged offense. This section shall not limit the right of the defendant to testify in his own behalf. And the judge has said Bryan Kohberger can take the stand and say where he was. Number 5, for good cause shown, the court may grant an exception to any of the requirements of the subsections through 1 through 4. So it does give the judge some leeway. So what did the judge actually decide on this? So that's the law that the judge is having to adhere to. And I didn't think he was going to change case law just to support Bryan Kohberger. But the judge is not going to accept a partial alibi, and said that if BK wants to provide an actual alibi, he can, and he granted Bryan Kohberger more time to do this. However, if Bryan Kohberger does not provide this, then he will have to take the stand to provide his own alibi. I don't think the defense team is going to want him on the stand. Let me know what you think, and we're going to talk about the number 1 thing we all missed. Oh, we also learned, and this is huge, that traffic stop on August 21st, this is not the one that I've showed you guys the body cam footage where he was in the crosswalk and he was talking to the female police officer. This is one we haven't seen the body cam footage on. It's not the 2 traffic stops of him and his dad driving from Pullman, Washington to Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. This is a different traffic stop that took place on August 21st of 2022. The defense did not want the jury to see this traffic stop. They said they felt like it was prejudicial because Bryan was arguing, I guess, with the police officer about his phone number. Now, the judge said he would redact that part, but the jury gets to see the rest. It sounds like the defense was very worried about the fact that the jury was going to see that Bryan Kohberger drove a white Hyundai Elantra that fits and matches suspect vehicle 1, and probably matches the 12 hours of raw footage of the Hyundai Elantra going to the crime scene and leaving from the crime scene. So I think that's the real reason that Ann Taylor did not want the jury to see the car. They're going to see the car. And the judge said that it's evidence and the jury has a right to see it and the jury can decide for themselves. Okay, so the prosecution absolutely wants the jury to see this traffic stop. The defense absolutely did not want the jury to see this traffic stop. And if you look at where the traffic stop is located, it is located near the 1122 King Road home. And I believe that what the prosecution is going to do is line up this traffic stop, which was a routine traffic stop, and they are going to line that up with cell phone pings. Remember, we have multiple cell phone pings of Bryan's cell phone pinging in the area of the 1122 822 King Road home in the months and weeks leading up to the crime. So the judge has ruled that this traffic stop will come in. And I think the big piece of evidence that we all missed is that BK says he's a vegan. And there was a lot of arguing in the chat this week about a vegan wouldn't do away with Buddy the dog. A vegan wouldn't hurt anyone. And I just want to point out that that knife sheath is leather. So I don't know what his reasons are for being a vegan. Let me know what you think. But I do think the fact that he's buying a leather knife sheath shows that maybe the veganism isn't as important to BK as some people are thinking. Maybe it's a way for him to treat his visual snow. Thank you so much for coming by to spend a little bit of time with me. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I cannot get to 50,000 subscribers without your help. So please consider subscribing and drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments section below.